welcome to the July 2022 session for the home-based meetups. Today is focusing on Schoolnet. We do have the bit.ly for the slide deck for today's session at the bottom of the screen. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to our home-based manager, Matthew Mayo.
Good morning, everywhere. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. I'm tongue-tied already. Hope everyone is having a good Tuesday morning. So glad you're here today for our home-based meetup here with Schoolnet. I just want to give you a couple of reminders here, some housekeeping as we begin today's home-based meetup. Just for our WebEx meetings, the next screen will show you just a little bit about where the microphone is, camera, chat. We're all pros at this by now. But just don't forget the chat feature is always open. Anytime you have a question, our home-based team is here as well as Rebecca to answer any questions that you may have. So please feel free to use those tools today. Just give you an overview of our home-based meetups. Our purpose of doing these is to foster those positive and productive field-based relationships with all of you. Again, to communicate product-specific information, elicit feedback. I can't tell you enough how much we take your feedback. We take your feedback very seriously here. And so we've looked at the feedback from last year. We love a little more participation. So if you would please, we do consider feedback a gift. Today, at the end of your home-based meetup, if you would give us that feedback, we would appreciate it. And then we also want to provide some collaboration time and problem solving. And that is one of the things that we noticed on our feedback last year. You all wanted more of. We realize that is difficult when we're all online, but we're very happy to get back to some face-to-face meetings coming up too. And the last thing there is just providing that coordination between DPI, different products, and of course, you all as the end users as well. Our vision, we are working on a new vision with our home-based advisory group, so it's super excited about that. But right now, our vision is to be the definitive seamless go-to digital resource for North Carolina. And of course, that includes all of our different home-based products that we have. If you'll notice on slide 6, there's a link there for all the presentations for this week. So yesterday, we had the privilege of having Cami Nairn here for our NESIS presentation, and today we'll have Rebecca here for our Schoolnet as well. And of course, just a reminder for our schedule for the week, we got a full week of home-based meetups this week. As I said before, yesterday was NESIS, today's Schoolnet. Tomorrow is the big call with Power School, and then if you'll notice on Wednesday we have 2. We have Power School, and then learning.com will be at 1 o'clock. And then Thursday, Corey will close us out for the week with Canvas at 10 a.m. and Go Open NC at 1 p.m. Please note we did make some changes. We did cancel Friday's call and moved it to Thursday due to so many PSUs being closed during the summer on Fridays. Hope you guys are enjoying those Fridays off. Just a couple of updates here for just home base in general. We would love to welcome, you've already met her, but we welcome Miss Rebecca Stokes. She has been an instructional coach, instructional technology facilitator as well, teacher of the year. So many hats she's worn in the past, but we're super excited to have her leading our professional development for Schoolnet and for Power School. And so you'll see more from her today, obviously, and we do welcome her to the team. Some recent victories, Cami and the NESIS team, and probably you all, if you're involved in NESIS, we had a great EOY with that, very smooth. And the QA is complete on the NESIS, and so that will be moving to production this school year. And of course, we felt like we had a very, very successful SIS Power School end of year process, but we do want your feedback. So if you are involved in Power School, the EOY process at your PSU, please click on that Jamboard. I think Rebecca or someone will put that in the chat, but we love your feedback. We want to know what we did, what went well, but we also want to know what are those opportunities for improvement that we can work on too. So while we did meet our goals this year, our goal here at DPI and home base is for continuous improvement. So please give us that feedback so we can take that back and make some improvements. If you have not heard by now, Um, Two awesome things have happened over the last couple of months. All of our technology directors and staff are receiving COSIN memberships. And so we're extremely excited about that. And what that means is a plethora of resources for every single PSU. So no matter where you are, you get the same resources, and it really levels the playing ground. And last but surely not least, all certified staff in North Carolina will get an ISTE membership. And so we're extremely excited about that. More information will be coming over the next couple of months as we transition this. We're excited about this and all the opportunities that this is going to bring for all of our PSUs. Home base product timelines, just to give you an update here, this is where our contracts are laying at right now. And so we're continuing to work through those as well as we continue to go through these different product timelines. Slide 12, I am super excited. We've already done a lot of work around this, but we know that this is a lot more work to be done. Go Open NC, we're going to call it, for now, it's going to be called Go Open NC 2.0. So it'll be totally rebranded, redeveloped. What we have learned over just listening to all of our PSUs is some things that went well, and probably a lot of other things that need to be improved. And so we're going to be using the next school year to go through Go Open and to redevelop this and reimagine what this can be. We want this to be a true hub for all educators in North Carolina to go-to resources. So I'll ask one of the home-based team members to put that link in the chat. I think Cami just did it. But if you would like to be a part of the redevelopment team for Go Open NC for the state, we'd love to have you a part of this journey. And so if you are interested in that, please fill out that simple Google form, and we will be in touch with you very soon. Dr. Corey McNeil has done and myself have been meeting with Go Open as well as Dr. McBride. And so we're excited about the possibilities of what this will bring in the coming future. And again, our home-based meetup dates, we are super excited to have 2 face-to-face sessions coming up one in September, and then of course in May. If you are interested in hosting, we still have a couple of dates left. So listen up. If you are available in the Northeast or Southeast on September 26th, we need your space. So if you would please email Yolanda Wilson. Basically, we're needing one large room and a couple of breakout rooms to hold a little bit around 100 people or so, plus or minus. And then May 3rd, if you're in the North Central or Sandhills region, you're needed. And May 4th, Northeast or Southeast region. So that's September 26th, Northeast or Southeast. May 3rd, North Central or Sandhills. And then May 4th, Northeast or Southeast. If you can host, we love to be able to come to your PSU or location. So please let us know if we can do that. And then last but not least, a couple of things here. Just a reminder to encourage your teachers and administrators to follow us on home-based social media. We've got many avenues here where we try to keep up to date with everything that is going on in all of our products. So please make sure to join us on one of these platforms. Last but not least, this is your home base team for the 2022-23 school year. And so you see a list of everyone here that is a part of our home base team. All of those names are hyperlinked to their email addresses. And so we're very thankful for this team and all that they do. We've worked very hard this summer. NC Bowl was a lot, and we were so thankful for all the good stuff that came out of that as well. And then in the right-hand corner, this is all I need from you today. If I can just get one thing from you, your feedback. So please, if you would just take a few minutes as we continue on that cycle of continuous improvement. I can't thank you enough for all that you've done and continue to do for our students. And I know it's been a long couple of years, and hopefully you've had some chance to rejuvenate just a tad bit this summer. But this time I'm going to turn it over to our new home-based employee, Miss Rebecca Stokes. Again, thank you so much for being here today.
All right. Thank you. Let me get switched over. And thank you for putting those links in the chat for me. So anyone that is just joining, good morning. Welcome to the home-based meetup for July, and today we are focusing on Schoolnet. I am Rebecca Stokes. I am the newest professional development specialist and Schoolnet product manager. And on the call, we also have Catherine Simone and Amanda Phillips from Pearson. So I'm going to give them just a moment to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, Catherine Simone here, Implementation Manager for Pearson for North Carolina's Schoolnet platform. Good to see all of you this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Amanda Phillips. I'm your Education and Technology Support Consultant. I work your ServiceNow tickets. Happy to be here.
Awesome.
We're going to talk about just some NCDPI updates and then some Schoolnet updates. We will have Schoolnet content and assessments information, as well as some Schoolnet data that you can get, your Schoolnet support, and then we will have breakout rooms where we'll have two different rooms going on. One will be talking about sharing school and district created items, and the other will just be Schoolnet questions or comments or feedback, because I am new to this position, so I would love to know what everyone would like to see in the future or anything that I can do to help out. End with some reflections. All right, so the first thing for updates is the Schoolnet leads and backups. If you can click this link right here to check who we have listed as your Schoolnet lead and backup, because all of our newsletters and bulletins, any information that needs to go out about Schoolnet is going to be sent to those contacts. So if it is not up to date, if you could please email Yolanda Wilson and myself so that we can get that updated so that you get all of the current information. We also have a link to the admin guide for Schoolnet. So if you're a Schoolnet admin or new Schoolnet admin, you can click that link right there for an admin guide. And you can also enroll in this Canvas course that John Mayers had created, and it is an excellent course to help you get set up as admin for Schoolnet. If you are one of the PSUs that opted into Transcend, if you could please complete the survey, this link right here, that is going to help Catherine and Jeff get some things set up for Transcend. And also, if you opted into Transcend, we are going to have some webinars for the admin and teachers in August, and you can click this link right here to register. So again, that is for anyone that opted into Transcend. If you could click that link to register.
Just currently, the training site is being updated. We did a copy down, or we are in the process of copying down from production and scrambling the personal data so that you will have a refreshed training site, and we will be broadcasting to the field the logins as soon as the update is complete for the training site.
Just a few updates with the data from our 21-22 school year with Schoolnet. We had over 9.5 million total tests submitted. That was as of May. 95% of those were online. That is down 4.5% from last May, but still a strong number. We had over 500,000 Canvas link test submissions, and that was up 72% just since March of this year. And then for our state recommended test submissions, we had over 100,000, and that was up 4% from last May. So strong Schoolnet numbers. Okay. We sent out the Schoolnet feature survey for the 22-23 school year. If you did not get that feature survey, please email me so that I can get that to you. It was sent to whoever we had listed as your Schoolnet lead, but of course we know roles change and emails get lost as well. So just let us know if you did not get that so we can get it sent to you. But some things that feature survey goes over is just asking if you want optional released NCFEs and EOGs to be assigned to courses. There's some optional NCDPI math sets and Certica math testlets that we can recommend as well. Pearson is able to extend your terms, so it's asking if you would like to do that and what dates you would like, and if you would like to import data from Renaissance Star as well. So those are the questions in that survey, and it does need to be submitted by August 30th. So again, if you did not get that, or you're not sure if your PSU got it, please reach out and let me know, and I will make sure that you get that. Okay. And we are now going to talk about Schoolnet content and assessments, and I'm going to turn it over to Catherine Simone.
Good morning, everyone. The first thing I'd like to update are the state assessments. So we've provided this list of the number of assessments in each category. Math sets, beginning of the year, end of the year release items, the final exams. Please note that for the final exams, we have removed the middle school social studies because they were aligned to the 2010 standards, and those items have not been replenished at that time, so those tests have been removed, but all other state assessments remain intact. We are in the process of copying them over and recommending to districts at this time. As Rebecca mentioned on the previous slide, that feature survey will determine whether or not we schedule the final exams and the release tests directly to your courses, or if we recommend the math sets and the Certica testlets to your teachers. Please note, this year we are taking into account the start dates for PSUs. So schools with later start dates, we will not be directly assigning or recommending per the feature survey until after the start date, okay? Just to keep that in mind. And certainly jump in with any questions about these at any time if you're wondering how you can access these. We can certainly let you know. So recently, you can see the search date in the bottom left-hand corner of this slide was April 10th. There are new benchmark items and classroom items. You can search these items in the item banks, the North Carolina benchmark item bank and North Carolina classroom item bank. These are the item counts. There were some passages added in addition for the ELA, so keep note of that. These are the ELA and the social studies items. Again, here, please note for social studies, the social studies 4th, 5th, and 8th grade items are all brand new. You really don't need a search date for those because social studies at K to 8, all items aligned to the 2010 standards were removed, and these are the new items that were added for K to 8. Okay. The next slide gives you a count of the math and the science, both here again, benchmark and classroom items, just for your reference. These are also searchable by April 10th. Okay. CTE folks have updated their standards. All standards were updated as of July 1st, 2022. Items aligned to retired courses have been removed, and 2,285 new items have been added for the courses listed in business. I think it's family, health, and technology, career and technology standards at the end there. Trades, sorry, trades is the last domain. Sorry about that. So those are the new item counts for the CTE folks. As I've been mentioning throughout with the exams and also the content, this is the update for the social studies standards and items. Please note that all item banks, we have removed the K-8 items aligned to the 2010 standards. K-8 items for 2021 standards were added if they were provided to us so far from DPI. The state assessments aligned to the 2010 standards were removed. Please keep in mind that the 2010 standards for grades 9 through 12 and items have been retained. This is due to, correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, graduation requirements at high school that they're still phasing out the 2010 standards upon graduation at the high school level. Also,
Yes, that is correct.
okay, that's correct. All right, good. Every time I say that, I'm like, did I say that correctly? Sorry. So also know that with this last upgrade to 24.0 that we mentioned to you prior, we have new ability to import new Certica items. It was a different QTI package, and I should have those banks refreshed sometime in mid to late August. Okay, and we will certainly be providing those numbers to the field as well. Okay, we did mention the STAR Renaissance data in the feature survey, but I wanted to just give everyone a reminder here that if you are using Renaissance STAR platform, they have a sync that is direct to Schoolnet. It's just a one-time setup, and we have a couple screenshots up there of how the data will display in the student's profile. And it also allows for custom reporting. If you're creating custom reports within Schoolnet, that data is available for reporting. I provided a link. Rebecca, can you just hover over the underlying data sharing? Should pop up there. But that is a link to the actual agreement and directions from Renaissance. And if you have any questions, or when you complete this process, please submit a ServiceNow case. We will pick it up, and then we will make sure that your STAR data is, sync process begins. And if you need any help, don't be afraid to reach out. We'll get you all set up. We have a couple districts already set up from North Carolina in Schoolnet and ready to go. Also, on the topic of data, we have a new score and score response distribution report within Schoolnet. When you are in the reports, it will be the last tab report. So normally you're accustomed to going to the reporting dashboard. You have the test summary, the standards analysis, item analysis. The last tab to the right has a red box around it. In this particular image is the score response distribution. And similar to when you click on an individual item in an item analysis, but you have to click that number at the top. This is an easier way to access the information, and it can be done at the school level or section level. So what you're seeing here is the correct response. This happens to be a district view. We're seeing the percentage correct and the actual count of students who got answer B there correct by the school, by the district, and it would also show by the section. Then it shows the most common error and the counts there. And then obviously the other answer choices also give the percentage of students that chose that answer to help with instruction and what misconceptions the students may have. To the right, there is a drop down in that screenshot where you can see that you can toggle between item numbers easily, rather than having to go back and forth in the item analysis. This will advance questions, and you can look at each question on an assessment to determine any problem spots with that particular standard or item that students may be encountering.
And before we moved on, we did have a question about the
Sure.
STAR data. If
Yes.
that could be completed at the school level, or is it district-wide?
I want to say you would be able to complete it at the school level, but I'm going to ask a question back. If is the entire district using STAR, or is it just one school within the district?
Catherine, we just have a few schools that have purchased STAR on their own. We don't do it district wide.
Okay, then that should work. What my question, and I would have to look at the first file that was sent. The only thing I'm thinking about is if school A wants their STAR data shared within your district and school B does not, just making sure that when you click the share button that's provided in those directions that STAR Renaissance gave us, that it only shares the school and not, like, one school wouldn't be able to opt in the entire district. And that's a question for Renaissance. It may not be an issue. Maybe all your schools want to opt in. I'm not sure. Does that help? So do they have their own individual dashboard? Do you know?
Yes, each school is their own instance.
Okay, then it should work. Then they should be able to only opt in on their own. We just received one big file for North Carolina, and the only way we know the difference is once it syncs with the system. So if they're able to, check the sharing button within the STAR data, then they should be fine with it. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Let us know if you need help with that.
And there were some other questions in the chat. I promise I'm not ignoring you. It's hard for me to type it in there while I'm sharing my screen, so I was gonna
Okay,
get to
let me open up the chat because I was looking
no,
at
it's
your
okay.
screen and go back to that. Hang on a second.
Everybody's being very helpful and helping each other out, so I just didn't want them to think I was ignoring them.
Oh, the Schoolnet slides are not coming up. And then someone put the bit.ly in there.
There was one asking about the leads, but someone helped them out on that. And then there was another one asking about a power school issue.
And Catherine, that was me. This is Lindsay from Duplin. Last year we had the issue where when we scheduled assessments at the beginning of the year, if we had a teacher change in Power School, then the kids were not assigned that assessment. We had to go, either put in a ticket and have it handled through support, or we did figure out a workaround to unassign and reassign for those sections. Has that been resolved? When we're talking about the scheduling of assessments, that's my concern.
So as you just said that, it kind of shed a little bit of light on this situation for me. So there's a section of students and the teacher was moved, so a new section was set up. Is that how it's done?
Right. So what we were doing is we were scheduling at the course code, by the course code. So all the math ones, let's say. And so we would assign that by the course. And then if a new math one teacher came in, the teacher name changed, that section was not able to access that test, even though we assigned it by the course code.
Okay. First, no, nothing has changed with that, but I'm wondering if
Because in previous years we've never had this issue. It was just this year that
right.
it started.
And was it a different way in which you
The only thing we did different is we used the testing windows to assign.
Okay. No, but let me go back to that and maybe you and I can take this offline. Would you shoot me an email and then I can set up a call for after meetup?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, no worries. Thank you. And then I guess the STAR one was the next one. Can this be completed at the school level? The link to check Schoolnet lead only shows SIS leads.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think James helped Kim out with that one.
Okay,
All
right.
So yeah, so I think we are
We're all caught up.
I believe so.
Okay.
So now we're moving on to Amanda Phillips with some back to school with Schoolnet.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in on the first slide real quick, if that's okay with you, Rebecca.
Of course.
So just a reminder, and I'm sure everyone's aware of this, so ServiceNow for support or questions, that does include the Star Renaissance piece. And if you have any questions regarding this year, we'll include, if you opted into Transcend, you will also be using the ServiceNow cases. And just make sure it says Transcend in the title, okay? Just a reminder that Amanda and I cannot access PowerSchool or Canvas. So if it is support with those programs, while we can say what we see on the Schoolnet side of it, we are not able to look at those other platforms, okay? And also, final reminder, I'm sure you're all aware, if you change something today in in PowerSchool, it will not be reflected until tomorrow in Schoolnet after the nightly sync. Okay. All right. Now you're up, Amanda.
All right. So we're gonna do some common beginning of year issues. One of the biggest ones is students are missing from a roster. They're showing not enrolled. Most of the time when a student is showing not enrolled, they won't be able to log into Schoolnet. Sometimes they have a section missing from their schedule. All of this is most of the time due to a PowerSchool discrepancy. So this is a list that I will send in the ticket. So you can check their school entry date in PowerSchool or their class entry dates. You have to make sure they all align, that they're on or after the first day of school per your school calendar for the current year. And it'll have, it has where you can find it. I received this last year from John Myers, so it was a little helpful for me. So I wasn't always asking him what was wrong. And so you can also check the full-time equivalency value. Most of the time that is the problem. I always get a response, oh, it was full-time equivalency. So that's the biggest kicker. The next you can check is that they have an admission status value assigned. And then tracks. Tracks are very uncommon. I was told if you're a track school, you'll know it. I think we had maybe one or two issues last year about tracks. So you have to check if you're a track school, you have to make sure that all students are assigned a track. And if you're not, you have to make sure that no tracks are assigned. And if any one of these things are missing or have an issue, the student will have an issue. But once they're corrected after the change in the overnight sync, they'll be all good. So that's it with students missing. The little screenshot up at the top is what we see on the student profile. They'll say not currently enrolled and have a weird enrollment ended date. And of course, like if a student tries to log in, they'll get a permission access error. So That's it with students missing.
I think we have a question on that one.
There was a,
Go ahead, Rebecca, sorry.
oh no, I was about to say thank you, Catherine, for saying that. But yeah, there was just a question in the chat asking if the issue with ninth graders was resolved because they changed schools and went up to the high school. That Schoolnet didn't think that they were in, and they were getting an error.
And that is coming from, hey, this is Lisa. That is coming from Canvas. Like
Canvas, right.
everybody else in their classroom can go to Canvas and click on an assessment and do it. But if you were a ninth grader, a lot of times you had to go to, the first time you'd have to go to Schoolnet, click on Schoolnet, and then go to Canvas and then be able to see it. And I don't know why it was ninth grade. We decided last year, I think, Catherine, it had something to do with them changing schools.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So I don't know if we just
don't
wait and see
think
if it happens again.
I was going to say, I don't think, Amanda, we haven't seen any cases like that yet this year, right?
No, we haven't gotten any.
But
And that's
every time
actually
it was ninth grade.
It is with changing schools because it doesn't register them as having logged into Schoolnet. So they'll have to log into Schoolnet first and then into Canvas. And of course, if they try Canvas first, they'll have to clear their cache and then log into Schoolnet. So we actually did have that on there as an issue. Just so and it's not just ninth graders, it's when a student transfers schools, and I'm pretty sure it's from elementary to middle school as well. So anytime a student will change schools is generally when it happens.
That's Amanda. That's why I went ahead and skipped to this one because I was like, oh wait, she's gonna talk about that. So I wanted to go ahead and let you like say that. So I'll go back.
Yes.
This is James in Davidson County. I'm wondering if it might not be just a good idea for all of our high schools to say you need to make sure ninth graders at some sort of an orientation in first period or homeroom open up Schoolnet, just open the page and go there like one of the first days of school just to avoid this, because we had this issue too last year, and it depended on what teacher was giving a Schoolnet assessment. Like the same problem was coming up in the first few weeks. So I'm thinking maybe just to avoid the problem, we try to get everybody in the district to have a teacher have kids open Schoolnet once and then close it. What do y'all think?
That might be a good idea. Then you'd get all the kids who can access it or not in line. All right, and then we're going to do co-teacher access. When requesting co-teacher access for a co-teacher section, it's usually spurred when a teacher can't see their roster. We then discover that they are a co-teacher. Co-teachers do not automatically get access to sections. I will give the 2 documents here that are linked on how to request access and how a leadership can improve it. Also, you'll have to note that the co-teacher must be listed as a co-teacher of the section in PowerSchool for the section to appear. If they're not, then the section won't appear. You can't just go asking for sections in Schoolnet just to have them, because they won't. They have to be linked to the section in PowerSchool. And I think that's it with this one. Also, with teachers and administrators getting permission errors, most of the time it's because their access roles aren't coming through. Schoolnet roles are assigned via PowerSchool. I will provide this document of user roles and permissions most of the time. I think mostly everybody has gotten this at least once. And so I'll give that document to verify roles to make sure that they're in PowerSchool. Most of the time, they have to assign it. This is the screen I see whenever I check a user's role in Schoolnet, showing that they don't have one. And most of the time in PowerSchool, the role wasn't assigned. Sometimes PowerSchool just didn't send it over if they did assign it, and they'll just click the assign again, and the next night it comes through. So that's pretty simple with getting those permission errors. And then I think the next one was our Canvas assessment issue. And then after that, we have general Canvas troubleshooting. It's generally when there's weird errors with Canvas. Most of the time, that doesn't apply to the student not being able to access the assessment. So I'll send this list to check the configuration. I'll double check in Schoolnet that Canvas is actually enabled, and then I'll give the client ID and the secret and the URL and make sure to double check that those are correct in Canvas. And then I'll give the Canvas support document to ensure that the teacher is creating the assessment correctly in Schoolnet and linking it to Canvas correctly. Right. Yes, for the settings, the admin cannot, only the admin can do it. So that's part of the thing. Only admin can do the top part, and then we go down to the teacher. I'll have the teacher ensure that they're doing the assessment correctly. And then the third option is to ensure that student accounts in Canvas were created through the Canvas, through PowerSchool Sync, and not manually, because mismatched data can cause problems. And we actually saw that last year a couple times. And we had to go through a couple of different options, which I don't know. They wound up having to PowerSchool Sync this year. And then, of course, if none of the following above resolve the issue, we will recommend putting in a ticket with Instructure. And sometimes we wind up going back and forth talking with each other, trying to figure out what the problem is. So it just depends on what's going on, because with Canvas, we go back and forth. The biggest thing that I want to note with the test is to make sure that the teacher is disabling the sync to power teacher gradebook option in Schoolnet whenever they create a test, because it can only sync from one side, and if they're doing a Canvas test, it has to be done on Canvas. That is our main issue that happens. And it's also in the Canvas document to make sure that that's done. And generally, it'll say generally if there are issues with grades, to double check that, because it won't sync correctly to PowerSchool if it is checked. And I believe that's it. Are there any other questions?
In the theme of beginning of the school year and things to remember in Schoolnet, we wanted to talk about co-authoring tests. Okay, so the first thing to remember is that anyone with leadership permissions that has the ability to create a school assessment or a district assessment does not need to follow these directions, okay? If you're sharing with other leadership roles. This is when we have the scenario for this is when we have teachers collaborating on an assessment that may later be pushed out as a common classroom or a school level assessment, but we would like the teachers to work on the test first. Okay, so what we're going to work through is, you know, how we can start these tests, how we can create a draft or holding area. I like to use the term folder. I know it's not really a folder, but how to organize these tests and allow teachers to work on them prior to being moved to Test Central. Okay, so on the next slide, just a couple things to remember that when, let's just say Amanda and Rebecca and I are working on a 4th grade reading test, and we are all teachers in maybe even 3 different schools within a district. That's possible. One of us, if one of us has a higher level of permissions, then we would be the one to initiate the test, or one of the 3 teachers could initiate the test, meaning I go to assessment, create, manual test, I give the test a title, its grade, etc. I get the test started. I am creating a couple questions within the test, and then I am co-authoring it with Amanda and Rebecca. Okay. What I need to remember is that only one person can work in the test at a time. Okay. It's not a Google Doc, so we both can't be typing. And the test cannot be scheduled or assigned from the co-author state. Okay. And I see James, I was reading that and then I got distracted by the chat. Let me read this. One of the biggest challenges faced in the last 2 years with co-authoring was where an instructional coach with leadership rights created a test with a PLC, but the teachers would not be able to see the test because the coach forgot they had access to the. Yep. Yes. So I think what James is saying is that someone with higher permissions started the test, but they pulled items from a restricted bank, which then stopped the teachers from being able to participate in the creation of the test. Did I get that right, James?
You did, and forgive me for interrupting you, but
No,
I just
no,
wanted to
it's
throw
fine.
that out there for anybody that might be dealing with these issues, through the year. Somebody will say, well, we created this test and co-authored, but I hate co-authoring because it doesn't work. And I said, well, who created it? And 9 times out of 10, it's the instructional coach. And I say, don't hate co-authoring. It's because who started the test had higher rights than you. It's got to start with the teacher if you're going to share it in a PLC and everybody see the test.
Right. So one thing, well, two things to remember on that. One, you can't pull items from a restricted bank if you have permission from it and the teachers do not. 2, the test needs to start at the My Classroom, needs to be a co-authored My Classroom test in order for the teachers to access it. So we can't start that test out as a district benchmark, okay? Because that's what they're gonna, share it out and change the level of the test afterwards. But
yeah, you're so right. And the instructional coaches and their zealousness to help their PLC, they just forget they have those rights. And
right.
So they get in there and start digging around and they just forget.
Yep, agreed. There's a little link I should have made that font bigger. I am so sorry, Rebecca. Can you hover over that? It says full SRC co-authoring directions. That is a link to a document that is the soup to nuts document. I'm going to highlight some key points like James just pointed out, but I wanted to let you know the full directions are in the bottom left-hand corner of this current slide that we're on. On the next slide, I just want to show you the step-by-steps. Can you advance the slide, Rebecca?
I'm on the co-author folder. You need it one more?
Oh, my screen didn't advance. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Just did. It's delayed. My apologies. Nope. Now back one. Sorry about that. So we have the co-author folder. As I mentioned when I was on the previous slide, we're first going to go to assessments, and there's test co-authoring. I can click create new. And in the bottom screenshot there, I like to use the folder. For instance, I have used the folder to say, you know, 4th grade reading tests, and that's the title of the folder. And then I am adding users, teachers or staff from different schools that will be allowed to access the folder. Okay, so following those directions, you're creating new, select a folder, the name of the folder. The folder can contain the folder name can be up to 50 characters. So keep in mind, probably subject, grade is important. If it's for a specific location, school, district, and it's isolated to that, if you want to include that information, that would probably be a good idea. And then you're going to add users to the folder. You're basically clicking and starting to type the person's last name. They should come up. Please remember, because this is a state site, if you are crossing between schools, it might take a little bit longer as you start typing the person's name to bring the person's name up, to add them to the folder. And then you have the options of selecting view only, or they're allowed to edit the test. And then of course you're going to click save, and then that person would be added to the folder to be able to participate in editing the test. So remember, and I think it's on this slide, the picture. Yes. The bottom screenshot, you see a yellow message. It has a little key lock. This is locked for co-edit. Other co-authors cannot edit this test until you are done. So if I'm currently working on this test, all right, when I am finished, I'm going to click the blue button that says finish editing, and then Amanda can pick up this test from the folder. I can let her know, call her, email her, whatever it takes. She can click on the test within the co-author folder. Same screenshot from the previous slide where you saw assessments, co-author, and then you go to the folder, click on the test name. She can open the test. She can go through, look at all the questions, edit any that she needs to do, or add questions, modify any. And then when she's finished, she can click finish editing, and then Rebecca could pick up the test. Same process. Let's say Rebecca is the instructional coach in this instance, and she is the last person to review the test and make sure that it is okay to go out to be scheduled. At this point, she's already picked up the test. She clicked the title of the test. She edits the test. And then if she is ready, after clicking edit the test here in that top screenshot, she's going to have the ability to move to Test Central, where it can be scheduled. It cannot be scheduled from the co-author mode. So it needs to be moved out of that, and she's going to select an institution and test category. So this is the part that James was referring to. If the teachers are working on it and it's a My Classroom test, when that person with the higher level permissions clicks Move to Test Central, they can then change the test from My Classroom to School Assessment or District Assessment. Click OK, and then move forward with the actual scheduling process of the test. Okay. At this point, the test would no longer appear in co-authoring. Okay. And it can be scheduled because it's now been moved to where you normally would look for a test under assessments, find, and then look for it there by the test ID. It's always great if everybody can write down that test ID once it's moved into Test Central, so that we all have access to it and are able to locate it after the fact. Okay?
And can I add in something, Catherine?
Yes.
Just as a former classroom teacher, I would also make a copy of it before moving it to Test Central. So that was just something that I did. But
Yeah.
not saying that everyone has to do that. Just a suggestion, just to make a copy of it so that if
I always
need-
do too. I wasn't sure how many people
change in the
use
next-
that because, yeah, I definitely do that just because I like to always have my own copy of it. It is an extra step, but I agree with you. It's like having your original, and then you're sending the other one out to get scheduled, more or less.
Right. Yes. Perfect. And we do
Lisa,
have some questions.
sorry, go ahead.
Nope.
Rebecca.
Yeah, I was just letting you know we had questions.
So,
That moving to Test Central is new,
it's
I guess.
it's not recommending it.
that's
It's
way-
just, it's
yeah.
kind of like taking it from the folder and putting it into the test dashboard.
But the copy get, I mean, that's the whole test moves. That's not, I mean,
Right,
that's a different mindset of what we need to be
correct.
sure to tell our people not to do that.
Right. So there's
Unless they've made a copy. Does the copy automatically go in that folder, or they're going to have to, if they made a copy, they got to move it to the folder?
no, so all right. Couple moving parts there, Lisa. Let me break it
Yeah.
down a little bit. Sorry about that.
Got me confused there.
No, it's okay. If it's in the co-author folder.
Mm-hmm.
If I hit copy on this test, which is in your top screenshot there, if I hit copy, it's going to leave this original that we see in the top screenshot in the folder. Okay. Shouldn't be scheduled, should just be there as a reference. The copy is going to move out to Test Central. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we've always done in
Right.
the past. Okay.
Right. And it's still valid.
Okay.
There is another button there. Want to point it out. If everybody's set on, our directions are set with a copy, don't mess with perfection.
Mm-hmm.
But there is another option that you can move it to Test Central, but you will lose the original in the co-author.
Okay.
So
Good
that's
to know.
Yep, how you want to handle that when you disseminate that information. Okay. Any other questions about co-authoring?
I'd like to point something out.
Yes.
Also, an assessment that's in a co-authored folder, we will not be able to see for troubleshooting.
Yes. Very good. Important fact. So if you need help with a co-authored test for any reason, Amanda or I would need to be added to the folder or the test would need to be copied out of or pushed out of the co-author state so that we can access it. That's if you're submitting a ServiceNow case, just to be clear. Okay. So we're gonna move to the breakout rooms, and just Rebecca, if you could just let me explain the first one, so that we're sure if anyone is interested in joining that one. I guess last year and the year before, I had a district reach out to me regarding CTE items that they had created within the district. And they had been speaking to another district, or actually 2 other districts, and the 3 districts within Schoolnet wanted to collaborate on these items and asked if we could facilitate this. So the answer is yes. If your PSU has an item bank that says, for instance, Davidson County or, Wake County, whatever it is, that's your item bank. If you know of another district that you would like to collaborate with on items and facilitate sharing between the 2 districts, that's what the first breakout room is going to be about, how that process can occur, if anyone's interested in it, how I can set up a group to move forward if anyone's interested. So I just wanted to clarify that topic before, and then I'll let Rebecca explain the rest. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Catherine. So that's going to be the first breakout session, and then the other option is going to be just for any additional questions or concerns or feedback that you may have. Amanda and I will be in that one. We welcome you to join either of these rooms. We're going to open them up for probably about 15 minutes unless they need to close sooner, and then we will come back and finish up. But thank you for joining the breakout rooms. I don't think we had any in the sharing the district created items, but if after the session is over, you decide that that is something that you want to know more about, of course, reach out to me and Catherine, and we can get you information on that, as well as the questions or feedback. That is always welcome, so feel free to email me with any questions or feedback that you have for Schoolnet for the upcoming year. Let's keep going there. All right, so are there any additional questions before we finish up? Make sure I have my chat. But I don't see any there. Okay. All right, so to close out today, just want to remind everyone about the PowerSchool and Learning.com home-based meetups tomorrow. PowerSchool at 10 and Learning.com at 1. And then, of course, Canvas and Go Open on Thursday with Corey McNeil at 10 and 1 o'clock. We hope to see you there. And here is our feedback. If you were in the session yesterday, the feedback link is now cooperating and working, so you can click on that feedback link to give us feedback on our session. I apologize for any sound issues that were happening at the beginning, so I appreciate your patience. But that is all that we have for today, and I look forward to working with you this upcoming year. And thank you so much for attending.